think about what that means. If we could actually use our space more wisely and get people to share rides more often, which may sort of fly in the face of individual rights in some ways. But I think it's really important for us to think about, what kind of a world we want to live in. And I think that, the transportation piece of this is so important. I mean, trying to figure out how we're going to use the existing capacity that we have in better ways, and also work or provide the travel that's needed for non-work trips. That's something that I think we also recognize through the pandemic, is that not all trips, and in fact, the vast majority of trips are not commute trips. They're not work trips. They're trips to the grocery store, trips to the shopping mall, or to Walmart or Target, or wherever people do their general day-to-day shopping. And I think all of those trips are extremely important, because they're the ones that also have to happen. Whereas a commute, generally speaking, I think can be flexed a little bit for people who have that 8 to 5 job. Sometimes they can go in at 7, and sometimes they can go in at 9. Whereas somebody who's on the clock working, being a service worker, they clock in and they clock out, and they have to be on time at certain times of the day. And so for people like our essential workers, I think it's really important for us to make sure that their trip is really efficient and fast as much as possible.
Nadine, Dallas has an extensive history with public transit, but DART is really still a relatively new organization in comparison to other transit outfits across the country. So, how is DART doing, I guess, and what are the opportunities that you see for DART?
So DART is, let me put it this way. So when the pandemic hit, DART, like so many other organizations, had to kind of take a step back and sort of just look at the landscape, because with the economy shut down, we had to really consider what that impact would be on our revenues, because we're very much funded by sales tax collections. And so it was a real challenge for us, because right at the beginning, there was a lot of uncertainty about, whether or not we'd have money in the future. We were seeing ridership decline precipitously, because people were staying at home and we just weren't having as many people riding our system. I mean, I know we dropped down. Right now, we're running somewhere around, I think, 60% of the ridership that we had pre-pandemic. And so it was much lower than that right at the outset of the pandemic. So we're recovering right now in terms of our ridership. And so the thing is, we implemented a voluntary retirement program. And so at that point, we lost, by the end of last year, we lost about 350 people, I think it was. And we always have attrition. So right now, our numbers are down by about 500 full-time employees. So where that is a challenge, because that means everyone else is working hard to make up for the people we don't have. It also means that we're missing some of our trips because we don't have enough operators. Sometimes our buses and trains aren't getting repaired in time because we are down a number of mechanics. In addition to that, we've also lost a lot of knowledge, industry knowledge, from people who have retired and been in the industry for a long time. So it is a difficult time for all of our staff. What I will tell you is that our staff is very talented and very dedicated, and they are just doing a great job right now. What I need to do, and the opportunity that I have, is I need to bring in more people. I need to get more people interested in coming to work at DART, because it's a great place to work. I need to make sure that we fill all the positions that are vacant right now in key leadership roles. And as a new CEO, a lot of times that's a great opportunity to bring in fresh ideas and new energy and really get people excited about what we're doing as an organization.
Deconstructing Dallas, we are talking to Nadine Lee, President and CEO at DART. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about DART and the bus system specifically. So hang with us through the break. Deconstructing Dallas, Shawn Williams, Ryan Trimble. We'll be right back right after this.
Welcome back, Deconstructing Dallas. Ryan Trimble, Shawn Williams. We are joined today by the head of Dallas Area Rapid Transit. She, of course, Nadine Lee. Nadine, I wanted to get into a little bit about our bus system here in Dallas. I know you, as chief of staff at Metro in Los Angeles, you oversaw Metro's the Better Bus Initiative, a multi-billion-dollar plan to address reliability and racial inequity in LA's bus transit system. How is that experience, do you think, will help you here in Dallas as we take on this issue?
Well, so right now we have more riders on our bus system than we have on rail. Actually, that's been, I say right now, but it's really been always. And that was true in Los Angeles as well. And when I was in Los Angeles, what really struck me was the level of investment that was going into building new rail, with the hope of trying to get more riders on the transit system. But when I saw how many people were actually on the bus system every single day, in Los Angeles, it's about close to 900,000 riders a day on the bus system. Here, I think it's around 134,000 pre-pandemic. By the way, those are pre-pandemic numbers. When you think about that number of riders every day, the rail system, in all its glory, doesn't carry that many riders. It carries a fraction of that. In Los Angeles, it's about pre-pandemic 300,000 riders a day. In Dallas, it's I think about 100,000 riders a day. And so, the vast majority of the riders are on the bus system, and we don't often, as an industry, this isn't a slam on DART or Metro, but as an industry, we often don't spend enough time and attention paying, listening to our bus riders and taking care of our bus riders. And, we talked about the pandemic earlier. The pandemic really highlighted for us how important our essential workers are. And what I always said in Los Angeles was the bus riders are our essential workers, or the essential workers are bus riders. That's, by and large, mostly true. Most of the bus riders are people of color. Most of them are from low-income households. Most of them don't have access to a car. And they're the people who need us the most. And they're the ones who have stuck with us throughout the pandemic. And so, I really feel strongly that we need to pay a lot more attention to our bus system. And if you go out on the streets and you look at our bus stops, you'll find that there are a number of bus stops out there that have literally a post in the ground with a sign on it. Sometimes it's only in the grass between the sidewalk and the curb. Not a very good waiting experience for people. Whereas when we build a train, build a light rail line, we provide a huge platform with a shelter, a canopy. We provide lighting. We provide seating for everyone. We provide access to our electronic ticketing. We don't do that for the bus stops. There are a lot of reasons for that. But we have 10,000 bus stops in the whole area in Dallas, or in the DART service area. And it would be difficult to do all those things at every single one of those bus stops. But a train comes every 15 to 20 minutes, whereas sometimes a bus only comes every hour. And so I think that, what we really want to do is try to provide, a dignified waiting experience for people. And in that sense, I think it's really important for areas where perhaps the bus only comes around once an hour. I think it's very important for us to provide a shelter or a canopy, to provide shade, because it's so hot here in Dallas. I think it's really important to provide seating because, if somebody misses their bus that only comes once an hour and they actually have to wait another hour, they probably don't want to be standing for another hour. So I just think that it's really important for us to think about that. In addition to that, from a mobility perspective, I was just really surprised when I came to Dallas and realized that in an area this large, that we only had 700 buses in our fleet. What that tells me is that we're not using our buses to the best that we could. We actually have a lot of opportunities to improve mobility by increasing the usage of our bus system. But I think to start, or in order to do that, I think we need to first of all, improve the bus system, which we are doing with our DART Zoom bus route restructure, which launches in January. That we can talk about that more later. But we are going to be doing that to actually provide routes that actually go where people want to go, and actually serve people a lot better and faster as well. So that's a first step. We're going to try to restructure the bus network and really try to make the bus system work better for people. Our next phases beyond the Dart Zoom launch in January will actually look at how we speed up the bus system and provide some priority to our bus riders. And I'm hoping that we can really boost up the ridership on our bus network by doing so.
Nadine, I love this conversation on bus ridership, bus transit. A couple of years ago, I visited Rome, and I took the bus everywhere. And there was great signage. It linked to my phone. And that was a city I didn't know, and feel like I had more confidence even than riding the bus here. And so I'm definitely interested to learn more about your January rollout, and also, if there are any more details that you can give us about that, I'd love to hear about it.
Yeah. So in January, as I mentioned, January 24th, in fact, we're rolling out the Dart Zoom new bus network. This is super exciting because we redesigned our bus network to reflect today's travel patterns. I mean, I don't think in the 30-year history of Dart that we had actually revamped the bus system even once. So it's the largest restructure in the history of the organization. I think that, like I said, it reflects all the current travel patterns that people have. And I think that what we've done is we've gone from 7, what we refer to as high frequency or core frequency routes, or core frequent routes, I think is the proper term. We've gone from 7 of those to 22, which really means that there's a lot more access to people for high frequency service that runs from 4 a.m. to 1 a.m. So it's a 21-hour day for our operators. And so I think we're really going to provide a lot more access to job opportunities. In fact, we did an analysis that showed that in every demographic group, we've actually increased access to job opportunities within a 60-minute bus ride. So that's a really good statistic, because I think that means that we're providing that access that people need, not just to jobs, but also to education and healthcare and all kinds of services that really allow them to live healthy and productive lives. So that's really important. The other thing that we have going on is that we have a Dart, we have a GoPass app that we've been developing for many years now, well before I got here. But we're getting to the point now where we are providing, all the real-time information. We're providing the ticketing opportunities on the app. We're providing all these different tools all in this one app called GoPass. And it gives the customers the mobile ticketing and real-time trip planning information for both our buses and trains. Excuse me, losing my voice, throughout our network. And we also will have access to GoLink, which is what we call a microtransit service, which is more on-demand service. Still a shared ride, but the idea behind it is that we provide this microtransit service where a fixed route bus is kind of too big to provide the service that's needed in that area. So the GoPass app actually aggregates all those different trip tools into one app, and it's available now. It's a really exciting thing that we've been working on for a long time. And actually, you should try downloading it and see if it helps you.
Well, I will definitely go try it out, Nadine. I was reminiscing back 20 years ago when freshman Ryan Trimble got onto SMU's campus and went to orientation week, and one of the events was Dart Around Dallas. And so we got on at Mockingbird Station and we darted. And I think we went to Planet Hollywood or some ridiculous venue down in the West End. But I remember thinking, right around City Place, you go downhill and you go subterranean, you go below ground. And I was thinking, man, I am in the big city here. I came from Albuquerque and I am here. I have made it. And so, fast forward 20 years, we are now adding yet another tunnel, D2 downtown. And I was hoping you could give us an update on that. And also the Silver Line, formerly known as the Cotton Belt, of course.
Yeah, so let me start with the Silver Line, because the Silver Line is our first big east-west commuter rail corridor. It's 26 miles running from the DFW airport to Shiloh Road in Plano. And it has about 10 stations along the corridor. It goes through, I think, 6 cities. And It's a huge investment. We're spending about $1.9 billion to build this commuter rail line, and it's going to connect with the